Hey everybody, it's Unlock the Middle. It's a flagship show. It's Sunday, and it's time for knowledge. Dropping those knowledge bombs all the way across the United States, learning from each other. Hey, Josh Tobat, Prop Principal of Memorial Pathway Academy, Garland ISD, Garland USA, ready to rock and roll, making sure that we're all together, getting ready to get started. Some of us do work tomorrow, some of us don't work tomorrow, some of us have PD tomorrow, some of us don't have PD tomorrow, whatever it is, but we know that our scholars will be there for sure on Tuesday. So wherever you're at, whether you're in Alaska or Hawaii, whether you're in Maine or in Florida or anywhere in the 48, we're here, stronger together, working together, learning each other from each other. So hey, we have an awesome guest, and we're ready to rock and roll. What do you think about that, Dean Packard?
Hey, iron sharpens iron. Remember that? Who said that? Was that you? You did say that, Josh Tovar. Hey, everybody, I'm Dean Packard, the proud principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. A far cry from the great state of Texas, but yet I still connect via the internet. What a great world this is to be able to open up my downstairs and see you and our guests all the time. So it makes it real easy for everybody to get a little bit better together. Hey, Sunday nights are all about that, just inching our way forward, finding leaders from around the country, people in education who are just rock stars, trying to make everybody better around them. And tonight, we're not going to disappoint. We're going to be doing the exact same thing. So, Josh, how was your Sunday? Great to see you, my friend. Talk to me.
I'm doing fabulous here, working, getting ready for tomorrow. We have PD for the whole district, and then our kids have the day off. And we're other than that, we'll be visiting different campuses. So we're getting ready for that and finishing off my birthday cards that I just sent out, and our kids that got perfect attendance last week. Send that out. Starting off the week with a positive joy. And you know what? Muchas gracias. Thank you very much to our Jaguars for rocking and rolling, because you know what? That makes my day. And I know it makes your day, Dean, when you spotlight all your kids on social media. I love seeing what you post.
Yeah, we have that one shot to market the greatness of the things that are happening in our schools. We always say, if you don't tell your story, someone else will. So we get out in front of that and make sure that you are marketing the great things in your school. All you leaders out there, take advantage of it. Social media is free. It's free. And used correctly, it's a powerful tool. Used the wrong way, it can hurt you. So again, it's just a little common sense and looking at the tools you have in front of you and really trying to make sure that the people and the students in your learning community get that recognition that they deserve. Hey, speaking about getting recognition that they deserve, we've got Shelly in the back room right now waiting to come in. So why don't I let her in, and why don't you do a quick little intro for her if you can, Josh, a little bit about her. I mean, I know it's the great state of Texas. You guys are probably neighbors, for crying out loud, right?
No, it's a great state of Texas. We're not neighbors. We're like 7 hours apart, probably.
You can't. Fair enough. I was teasing you, Dr. Tovar. I was teasing you. Shelly, welcome to Unlock the Middle's platform. Josh and I are having a little bit of fun right now. But listen, it's a pleasure to have you here. I've done a quick little back search on all the things that you're doing, and I don't think you sleep, for crying out loud. I think the impact that you have in education is amazing. So I'm going to step back for a second. Just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your rise into where you are and what you're doing, and let's go do the origin stuff here.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Go Brahmas, even though we lost our first game. But maybe that gives you a hint of where I'm at, which is currently San Antonio, Texas. I've been to over 20 countries teaching or training teachers or working with the ministries of education to integrate ed tech. And it's just been an amazing journey that I've been able to have published 4 books. So that's been really exciting as well. I know we're going to talk on some of those, but really I'm here to help teachers and just help them to integrate technology and engage their students and just make life easier for them.
Awesome stuff. Now, well, before you get into all that, talk about Shelly growing up and getting into education. Why did you get into this? I want to say it's a great field. I love my job. There's no doubt about it. But man, it's got multiple complexities to it and multiple entry points. So talk about how you got into this whole business.
Well, I should start, and it's kind of like a long journey, but I'll try to make it very concise. I grew up in one of the poorest districts in San Antonio. In fact, there's a Supreme Court case about it. San Antonio versus the Board of Edgewood district, and it was huge Supreme Court about unequal education, and that was my neighborhood. That's where I ended up going to school. And nobody in my neighborhood, a lot of them didn't speak, Spanish was our first language. A lot of us didn't even graduate from high school or go to college. It was kind of an unheard of thing. My dad knew that. My parents, they dropped out of school and their grandparents to work. And middle school and high school, and they didn't get to go to college. And my dad said, with his 5 girls, you're going to all go to college. He would tell us that every day. And he didn't know how to do it. He didn't know how to help us with our homework. But his message of always, showing us, he would show us every Harvard show, and he wanted us to be corporate lawyers. And what ended up happening is that I did go in for, he sent us to magnet school, and there's only 2 magnet schools at the time. They really helped me to be able to go to college for free. Really got me to be able to class president 4 years. All these successful things showed me I could do it. And then from there, I've been able to do this wonderful thing. All 5 of us are college graduates. We all have our masters. So really, and in one of my books, the 30 Goals Challenge for Teachers, it's really like a handbook my dad taught me on how to do great things in life. Have your passions coming from where they tell you, you don't. And so that's the kind of students I work with now. And that's why I got into education. I got to do these great things. And just like a lot of people, you want to give back to your community. So last year I moved back to, about a year and a half ago, I moved back to San Antonio. I was teaching middle school students. I've even been teaching elementary students, and keep going.
Shelly, that's awesome, and I heard you on another podcast, and I've been seeing you around. That's a beautiful thing about the little blue bird is that when we're looking for focus and we're looking for support and we're looking to grow as an individual, as an educator, it really helps out. And you see, we connected, and then since after the pandemic, and I so dislike saying that. Some good things did come out of it in regards to now, go figure, our kids now have computers. Go figure, now our kids have internet access. Go figure, right? It took a pandemic for that to happen. And then our team members that were hesitant had no choice of integrating their subject into blending their content to technology. So now we want to make sure that we ensure that success continues moving forward, right? So how can our team members in the classroom ensure technology is integrated in an effective and successful way? Because if you're just using Word document, that's not effective. If you're doing a PowerPoint copy and paste clip onto a slide, that's not effective because that's not the tools that they will need out in the regular world. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, one of the things I want to say, and I understand that a lot of teachers don't have experience. So even in some of the countries I've been to, after I give a keynote or after I give a presentation or workshops, I've had in other countries is very popular. Croatia, Slovenia, a lot of places I've been, very poor schools. They'll say, "Well, why don't you do it? Let you told us all that great advice, go do it." And I've done that. And one of the reasons I do it is I want to show them it's possible. And so I want, even if you're struggling, and I've had a lot of teachers who are like, "No, I'm not, I don't want to do this," but then their lights shine when they see it engages students. So I want you to see, I think it's good to see good examples and look at those good examples. And that's what I love about the Bluebird Twitter, is that so many teachers show great examples. They're teachers doing amazing things. And so one of the ways is it engaging for your students? Is there student choice and voice? Are your students, one of the great things I love about technology is when I use that, I don't get the same project. It's not like an essay where it's the same topic and they're all doing it the same. They all have to have the same information. No, it's like a different infographic. Maybe it's, a program they coded. Some of my students have asked me, "Hey, teacher, I love these choices you gave us, but can we do this in Roblox? Design art, and do it in a virtual world?" I'm like, "Yes. Whatever can we make a video?" And then they show me the most exciting, video they've done, video walkthrough of their projects or whatever they do. And so I think that's where it's like the powerful thing, because it's not, great, boring to grade. And you're always surprised by their amazing ideas this way. And so I think that's one of the great things about effective technology integration. If you're getting students choice learning menus, those are very powerful. When we're grading for the key points, rubrics, getting your students to understand. I have it as a checklist. My checklist ends up being my rubric. Very easy. So students know, check, check, check. Okay, I'm going to get a good grade. Most of the students, I see that they're trying really hard. they're pretty much going to make an A. My students love me for that. Some of them have not gotten really great, feedback, and I think that's the other part. Good technology integration includes constant facilitation, constant walking around. One of the greatest pieces of advice I ever got from a trainer, from all the training I've done, is have a good pair of sneakers, because you should be walking around all the time and letting kids know, even if they don't need help with something, just letting them know, wow, explain this to me. What is this that you're drawing? What is this you're creating? What is this blueprint for? Have you considered this? And things like that. And so I think those are all part, and there's so much more. You can find resources at Teacher Boot Camp. My Twitter feed is full of amazing ideas from excellent educators integrating technology. But I would say facilitation, student choice, voice, and constant feedback.
Hey, Shelly, is there a specific place or location? Remember, I'm about to interview on Monday for a social studies position.
Oh, wow.
And so I've had two vacancies in content area all year. So my question to you is, where can someone that's coming in from not the regular traditional way, but alt certifications, where can they find rubrics that can help out with the blended technology?
So one of the people to follow about technology integration, Matt Miller, ditched that textbook, and he follows a whole but I mean, even his website is full of things, and he has a great network of teachers. He has Alex Keeler, Casey Bell, some of the greats, Eric, I forgot his name, but they're great people doing great things with and share so many free templates and free rubrics that you just copy and you remix. You do whatever you want, but it's already there for you. It looks beautiful. Students love them. History Sandoval, and then there's also a new one on the network is Miss Howell. She's amazing, wonderful. But you can find a lot of them. I share a lot of them. I retweet a lot of them, but also it's really Matt Miller shares a lot of them as well, and he collects them on his website. So I got to review his book, and he's boss.
Were you mentioning Eric Schillingberg or Schillingberg?
Oh, Eric's a great friend and great leader. He does share some powerful theory on actually, I always recommend his as a leadership book on integrating technology, because his books they even talk about COPA and legislation and privacy. I think he's top. But it's actually Eric Kurtz. Eric Kurtz, Google Master.
So Shelly, let's just take a step back for a second. Let's talk about project-based learning versus traditional learning. Okay, back in the 1990s, I'm not going to date myself when I started off. Those teachers were in the front of the classroom orating, and those kids were listening both ears, one mouth. You listen to me and do what I want. But as we've evolved in education, and we've offered students voice and choice in what they're doing, universal design for learning and what that looks like, and making multiple entry points for kids into the standards of learning. That just excites me. Now, project-based learning in itself is an opportunity for kids to be able to dig into a standard in a different capacity. Let's talk about that for a second and how important that is for educators that are listening, and also how it makes grading a little bit different too, because we talk about an assessment, we'll be here all day. Okay, so let's just kind of tweak two of those together.
Well, one of the great things is when I first started going back to teaching, and I did do alternative certification, get back into it. So I got my master's in education, but I was living in Germany and I was traveling, doing all these things, came back to Texas, said, I'm going to teach, and did it with Teachers of Tomorrow and was able to get back in. Started with a charter school who would hire me. And I love that charter school. It's one of the best places I've ever worked. It's STEM-based education, which is basically project-based learning for students. And I worked with kindergarten through fifth grade, doing hands-on coding projects. Not only inventing with the cardboard box and the recycled materials, but the kids actually got the materials, even in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, to make that invention come to life, coding. And it's amazing. It blew my mind. It was hard, messy. My class was messy every period. I taught 32 periods out. I was working hard, but I loved it so much. And one of the great things is because students, they learn one of the most important lessons in life, and it's that when you have to fail often and not see it as a I'm quitting point, but your teacher's there to really help you, get through it and fail successfully, fail more, but fail better. I've heard, I don't know who said that, but I recently saw that quote. If you're going to fail better. And it's really just true, because one of the things is, we don't teach our students is that productive struggle, and that's really the problem-based learning. One of the great persons who has templates and a book about it, who I really got to meet and hang out with a lot, is Ross Cooper. He's at Mr. Cooper. It's one of the hack digital learning books, and he does a blog about it. And it's you just Google PBL Ross Cooper, you'll find it. But it's excellent, very very excellent. But one of the different ways that you assess that is through checklists and rubrics, and also so we learned the engineering design principle. You can look up graphics about that. The kids know, part of that is, even after it's given feedback, you get group feedback, you get peer feedback constantly through the different steps of the process. But then at the end, you try to, even it after you get your grading, all of that, you assess it like a self-assessment, and then you tell us how you're going to do better. And like I always tell my students, like, your ideas of today, one day those will be your great ideas that you got to revise for several years to make super great. So that way you're not the bridge or the ship that got stuck in the port that made world news, or you're not that bridge that failed and collapsed, or those buildings that collapsed during an earthquake. You're not the engineer of that. You're the person who did the great things because you started now and you learned from all your mistakes.
Shelly, I heard what you were talking about, fail forward, on Brian Martin's podcast, and he was talking about the lady that created Spanx. That her dad always asked her, "What did you fail in today? What did you fail in today?" Always questioned her because he was disappointed when she wouldn't fail and learn from that, failing forward. So that triggered that memory right there, Shelly. And and as we have this situation with the majority, I can't speak for the whole country, but more often than not, now our kids are 1-to-1 in the classrooms, and we have more of our team members with Pear Deck, with Nearpod, and blending learning in the classroom. How can we effectively manage these devices in the classroom?
Well, one of the things, I love Nearpod. I was Nearpod trainer. I am an evangelist of Nearpod. I think it makes wonderful. I introduced it I was teaching middle school, actually, one of the hardest places. Oh, middle school teachers, bless you. But Nearpod, I introduced it to my team. Loved it. Made it more engaging. And that's one of the things is a tool that gets you to do formative assessment constantly, like checkpoints, and makes your life easier doing that. And that's something that's just good practice in itself, is
Let's
checking.
let's talk about checkpoints for a second. I'm sorry to interrupt. So
Yeah,
why are checkpoints important for educators? What does that do? What does it do for them?
well, it really guides your lesson. And that's one thing. We may plan a lesson, but constantly our students are showing us, okay, I need to stop here, I need to pause here, I'm not getting this. And so, we have all those tools, but if we're not constantly seeing, okay, do my students get this? And I used to do a lot of hands formative assessment. Okay, one, I feel I've got it, teacher, I'm doing a great job. Two, you need to slow down, you're speaking too fast. Or three, I'm totally lost, please help me out. And just a quick, things like that, where students are constantly giving us feedback. And then you can do that with your pod too. They can do draw response, they can do oral response, and then you can see the areas that they most need help. Also, because now our classrooms, and I realized that being back in the classroom, is you have so many diverse needs. You have students that are dyslexic. You have students who know, I've had to, this past year, middle school students who had no, their basis of language, like they only spoke one language, and maybe it's their literacy. A lot of students don't know how to read and write still, even in third, fourth grade. I realized that you're not going to know your students, and you're not going to know how to help them and get to that point where they feel positive and successful and they can do great things if we're not constantly having those checkpoints and constantly helping them at that point that they need. And tools like Nearpod, Pear Deck really get you to do it quick, because you might say, okay, well, how can I help my English language learner, but also help the student that doesn't know how to read and write? There's two different things. Or my students that's maybe, dyslexic. How am I going to help all of them? I've got 35 of them in the classroom. How do I do it? Those tools really help you.
So all in the classroom. That's your phrase to that, okay? I grew up with the show All in the Family. I remember that. I'm dating myself way back. But all in the classroom, what is it? What does it look like? What is it all about? How does it operate? Talk to us.
Well, I think blended learning is really great because it also gives you an overview. So a lot of teachers, let's say they're getting all their students to work on Google Slides together, okay, and they're coming up with, some lesson about history or science, whatever it is. And then even in a Nearpod, you can do like a gallery view, and then I can also say things. I can showcase that, and I can say, "Oh, look at this. What do I like about this? Why is this answer gonna be like the boss answer?" And I constantly talk to students like that, so that in a positive way to know, okay, what do we like about this? Or I'll show another example and say, and the great thing is in your pod, you can hide their names, all of that, and just share the examples. Like, it gives you that, and say, while you're working with them, say, hey, what is wrong with this? Oh, it doesn't have, they know already. It doesn't have a capital, doesn't have a period. Okay, let's revise that. Did that really quick. Got that student to do whatever, excellent work because of that. So that's what it looks like in the classroom. Constantly having that student feedback, constantly having those student examples, and constantly offering that feedback, those questioning. Questioning is so important. I just shared a reply of 5 excellent visuals about questioning and how to make it powerful, but constantly questions in the classroom. In fact, I would even say that it should be less talking and constantly sharing theory, and more questioning. Like, if that's your teacher voice, is constant questioning. I think that's really powerful in a classroom.
And what you did, you invoked student engagement. What a concept. Ever get tired of hearing yourself speak too much? Maybe. No, nevertheless, I love that. You're absolutely spot on with what you're saying.
Now, Shelly, I'm going to ask you this question, and because I'm going to ask it for me.
Okay.
But I know, and I tell Dean always, I'm a caveman. When I don't know something, I bend the knee, and I go to people that know it. You have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you when you sit in my chair. That's the only way. So we know, and we're hearing it out there, just like that GPT chat, all this AI that's coming out. This is a brand new tsunami of information that's about to hit, if not already hitting us, in education. So part number one of my question is, please tell that other seasoned veteran like myself, explain to us what AI is in context of education. And then from there, we'll go to the second part. So talk to us, how does AI affect us or will affect us?
AI is so important to teach. First of all, I'll say that. So I see a lot of negative press. Oh, because people are scared it's going to take over our jobs. I never get scared of that. They used to say that about computers, and I used to hate when even my favorite keynote speakers would say, "You don't know technology. Teachers don't know technology are going to get replaced." No, that's not going to ever happen. Because, and I want you to understand about AI, it's not perfect. Yeah, but our students are going to use, and I know this because even working with middle school recently, your students are going to try and cheat. You're just going to have some of those students that are going to always try to cheat. But if we do not, we have to understand their brains are always developing. And that's one thing when I'm in the classroom that I look at. I when I get frustrated, I'm like, how can you do this? And then I think to myself, well, the brains are still developing. So in that point, we need to constantly, and that's one thing that's been taken out of the classroom that's really upsetting to me, is that we have a whole generations of students who have all this technology impacting them, and we haven't walked their brains through the steps. We haven't had those important discussions, the ethical discussions. Like, why is it important? Instead, we ban it, or we get scared about it, or we say all the negative things about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, you go to Chat GBT, you sign up with your email or whatever, you just put in a prompt. One that I recently did was create a objective for an interview I was doing. Create an objective for being an instructional designer that has these key points, and it came up with a wonderful one. Did I copy and paste that? No, because your students are, because their brains are developing. And if we don't walk them through it, that's what they're going to do. Write a paper about Pride and Prejudice, and then they're probably going to even do that. They're just going to say, give me an essay, Pride and Prejudice. They're going to copy and paste it. Because you, as an educator, nobody walked them, no adult walked them through the process of what is plagiarism? What is cheating? What do I consider? Why would I not want to? What's the benefit of me reading Pride and Prejudice? We didn't walk them through that. We didn't. And if their brains are not walking through that, we assume that they're always going to go through that moral thing. But if they're not constantly deliberately practicing how to walk themselves through moral dilemmas and decision making, then their brains are not going to learn how to do that on spot. So I constantly do that with my students. And so one of the things about artificial intelligence is knowing how to create the better response, seeing that and saying, okay, can you add some resources? What are the key points? Coming up with better prompts. What are the most interesting points about why should I study or read Pride and Prejudice? A better prompt, getting your students to do things like that. And then from, they see the key points, and then asking your students to look over things and saying, why, do what are some of the point, what is the interesting one that you found the most of why you should read Pride and Prejudice? Did you know that book was even about that? Did you even, your teacher told you to read this, but they never told you why? You didn't see the key points. You didn't see how it impact your life. Ask Chat GPT. What is reading Pride and Prejudice going to do to help me be better in life? Or why is it going to help me? Why should I read and that's what we can do with students. And that's the thing about Chat GPT. It can do amazing things. Like, it creates lesson plans for you. You could tell it to do it in a grid, and you can tell it to, I've seen teachers who use it to provide feedback for all these essays, and they give it a rubric, and they tell them, at least, I saw this one teacher who did it on essay questions and said at least one of theirs has to get the highest score. And then the rest, I want feedback on each of those essay responses. This is the rubric. And the more you give it the information, it becomes a helpmate for teachers. And one of the reasons I think that's so important, like some people, and I don't think they're in the education field, or they're not teachers in Texas, because they say, well, why would I want a lesson plan as a principal or someone that is, helped created by ChatGPT? One, because the templates that you have to fill out with exemplars for each level, and it's like a 5-page lesson template, literally takes 10 hours. 10 hours that I could be working with parents, calling the 20 parents that I do a week. And that's something I feel is important. That's really going to help those students. Something that I could focus on, the materials design, or all of these things. And Chat GPT or artificial intelligence really helps you to do that. But also walking students through the process of writing an essay. Okay, today I tweeted an example as how someone did insight in the quotes, and then citation. Sorry. And I think, and they said it wasn't perfect, but being able to realize that, like, a student doesn't know, they think, okay, I'm going to tell AI to write me an essay and it's going to be perfect. But if they realize, like, hey, look at the problems with the product that the artificial, how do we revise that? How do we edit that? How do we revise our prompt to get a better product? And you're thinking in the process, and also you're thinking about how you're delivering instructions. Then I think it's pretty powerful. But basically, you can tell it to do something, and it does it for you. It's pretty amazing.
Now, Shelly, that's a that's a good foundation there. It's one of those things that we're gonna have to please make sure that you rewind this later on and see it again to gather everything, because you could tell that the knowledge is coming out from
Sure.
Shelly. She's really embedded in that stuff. Someone like me, I'm gathering bits and pieces of it. So now, Shelly, talk to me from someone from central office, someone at
Okay.
the district level, because we know that this is coming out. So what kind of PD do we need to provide our team members? At Dean, my chair, we need to provide PD for our team members to prepare them ahead, not wait for it to hit us. So what do you suggest us at the campus level and also at the district level, because many people see this podcast, to prepare our team members for chat GPT, for AI? What kind of PD is needed?
So I think one of the simplest ways, and I would recommend first a couple of people who make it. They have visuals, they have guides, they have kits. Dan Fritz tweets, Tom Barrett, great technologies, Papas, all of those have, they give you the tools. They also provide you with the summary. This AI tool will generate images for you. You just say, I'm teaching, I don't know, I need a 1950s picture of them riding a buggy or something. And then it'll automatically give that to you. I mean, it just does something like that, like super. I mean, it just is instant. But one of the ones I saw Dan Fritz do that's on the basic level is teaching a video. And I know right now that's a popular thing with teachers. My sister, she's a trainer in a lot of the districts. She goes around to different schools. And she says that's one of the things she often sees. And her issue is a lot of teachers are still getting students to write notes over a video, or you discuss the video, and that's like one level. So Dan Fritz has a whole entire lesson plan, how to generate questions for the video, how to get the transcript, translated in multiple languages for your language students, and you do that all within like 5-10 minutes with Chat GPT. So that's pretty exciting. You can give it a video that you were going to teach with on YouTube. You get the transcripts, you get them all, in different languages translated for your struggling learners if you want to do that. And then you have questions, and then you get those questions and you ask them, do it with Bloom's taxonomy, because I saw another educator do that. All of a sudden, you have great questions. Differentiate instruction for someone who's dyslexic. You can tell ChatGPT to do all that, and it does it for you in minutes. And so that frees up the time, because realistically, as a teacher, not every lesson you can differentiate. But if you get a helpmate, and so that's one area, is really say differentiation, because that's a key thing for students now. But also another thing is and Matt Miller has a great visual about plagiarism and cheating and how do we define that. You can use it with teachers and students. It's a great thing for teachers, because that's one of the big things teachers are going to say, plagiarism, cheating. So if they present this and they present it and they have artificial intelligence write with it, is that considered? And so Matt Miller actually has a really good visual, and it's great to use on what we define as cheating and what we define as plagiarism. And so I think that's really important as well. And so I think and that's really what teachers are really scared about, and what to do. And that's one thing, is we have to let teachers know, if you decide to ban it, and a lot of schools, even colleges, have banned it, your students are going to use it at home anyway,
Right.
and are going to give you papers. This is going to happen. It happens already. So we might as well, I always think, teach, not ban. And so I know that's definitely the issues that, teachers are going to have with it. And prompt creation, that's very important. And Dan Fritz does a lot of information on how creating good prompts. Tom Barrett too, he has a whole chart. And I love those visuals, because the visuals really give an understanding that me talking or even reading is not going to give you. But Tom Barrett has a great visual on how to create a great prompt. Dan Fritz has really interesting stuff too, and it's going to show you visually, so teachers just look at the visual and you get a better understanding.
So, ban it or celebrate it and bring it and evolve with it. And at the end of the day, when kids leave our systematic way of teaching them, they're going to be faced with these things. So why not get out in front of this as a group of teachers and educators and say, hey, how can we use this as part of something in a positive fashion? You can go back as small as little earbuds in their ears. Can kids learn with earbuds in ears while listening to a teacher? I will tell you they can, because that's what they do all day long. But compliance police says, no, you can't do those type of things. My gosh, we get in our way all the time. It drives me out of my blessed mind. Nevertheless, let's talk a little bit about all the books that you put forth so far and the chats that you hold. I mean, we could talk for a while on this, but let's unpack a few of these.
So I did mention earlier the 30 Goals Challenge for Teachers. And these are the two that are the major ones that are out there. I'm revising some others. And I'm using ChatGPT as my editor in one of them, where I'm doing the second edition, which is Learning to Go. So that's mobile learning in the classroom. I want to change that because I recently worked in a school where it was very tough because they didn't have a lot of things in place for working with mobile devices. I know that's plaguing teachers right now. I think that's a big issue. And I've learned some really practical ways that really help me in a very tough school. So I want to share all of those great tips. And that's going to be my second edition of Learning to Go, which I'm writing right now. But I have the most recent one is my Hacking Digital Learning with EdTech Missions. And I really wish it would have been called, but it's with the company and I love it. Mark, my publisher, is amazing, does great. He has a whole collection of great books with hack learning. But it should have been called Mission Minded Learning. So that's a keynote I usually do with it. And what it is you have 12 different missions. They're all technology integrated. It's also with social media. And what it does is and that's what I think is effective practice as well. Students need to know the why of why they're doing things. And so for mission-minded learning, they get a little mission. It's like, I look at it as mission impossible, where they get that little report and it self-destructs really fast. But on this one, they get a little card. I've made those little cards for each of the great lessons in there. And students, create an ebook that showcases great points in your city or something like that. Because, and it presents a problem to them. People are coming to your city, and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to explore. So that way if we show them where to go and explore, we give money to good businesses. We help the economy here. So there's that why, okay, that purposeful learning. And then you can introduce different things. You can, if you need to cover objectives, TEKS, all of that good stuff, you can add that in there, And so I've kind of run through all that, but it's through a mission. When you accomplish your mission, these are the checkpoints for your mission. This is what you need for that. And I have that in each of the parts of those 12 different, learning missions, but they're digital learning missions, creating ebooks, creating comics in really creative ways to solve issues around, creating newscasts, how to do a broadcast, all of these great things. And so that's the most recent one. And the 30 goals is basically 30 small steps to change your classroom. And then it's like a self-help book in a way. I based it on great self-help books that really helped me. So after you complete a mission, like engage parents, that's one of the goals. And it'll say something like, call a parent that you haven't called of a kid that probably doesn't get a good. And then you have a reflection page, and you write down, this is the goal I accomplished. These are problems I had. It didn't go smoothly, or it went smoothly. And then you get to reflect, what can I do better next time? Or if I want to do this again, what am I going to change to make it a better outcome? Or no, this is how I felt, and this was really great.
How about the chats? Let's go to the chats now. I just want to learn a little bit more about what you're holding those chat groups, because we do this. This is fun for us, but there's so much knowledge out there. If people just need to click on something and just sit back and listen and buckle up.
Yeah, that's great. I think podcasts like this are really good. So I was doing EdChat. I was the founder of EdChat, one of the co-founders with Tom Whitby. And so that still happens every Tuesday. I also help co-found ELT Chat. And then also there's a lot of great chats out there. Some are still in existence. So I know EdChat still happens every Tuesday. And from there, you can find a lot of other different chats. Like I don't know if SAT chat is still going on, but that was a really powerful one. There used to be an EdTech chat, but there's still some Twitter chats out there. You get onto Twitter. I actually have a graduate course I teach the students, and that's one of the things that they do. They go through, even if the chat's not taking place, they go through the archives, because a lot of great things. You have all these educators. They use a hashtag and they just talk about, and then they show all of their examples. They share all their resources, and you're always, as better, the smartest person in the room is the room. So all those resources you can collect, and you can, now they gather them in Wakelet, or a place where you have that chat archived. And we used to have some of the first ed chats. Jerry Blumengarden at Cyberman One, he used to archive them for us. So even in 2009, when we founded EdChat, it was there. Right now, I know there's a lot of good things going on with EduMatch. So that's a great hashtag, a great community that really supports each other. And that's with Sarah, the teacher. Sarah is Thomas, amazing person in education.
So Shelly, I agree. One of the ones that I always follow is with Aubrey Peterson, Warm Demanders every Saturday morning. So those are great things that are going on there. How can people reach you, Shelly? I know you're easy to find. How do they reach you?
So I'm on everywhere. I keep my so I do have a private Facebook, but I have Shelly Terrell, facebook.com/Shelly Terrell is my community online. So you can always go on that for Facebook. For Twitter, that's where I'm constantly, like, you'll hear from me really, really quick there. That's where I pretty much live on social media. And that one is at Shell Terrell. And then on LinkedIn, which I've become more engaged with, especially with a lot of educators, like leaving Twitter, which I will never leave, no matter the ethical issue. I mean, I may regret saying that, but it'll take a lot for me to leave, no matter who owns it, because it's such a great platform. But LinkedIn, I'm getting more involved with LinkedIn, and I think that's a great place to go. A great transition. We have a lot of great conversations on LinkedIn. So I'm there at Shelly Terrell as well. And then Instagram, I keep private. Oh, that's good, Mel. Um, I'm sorry, I'm reading some things in the chat, and some people found that we're already following each other, so that's great. Feel free. I know sometimes we see like the follower count and we think, oh wow, she's never going to answer me. That's not true. Anytime anyone follows me, if it says educator, I check yes. That's what I'm here for, to make lives easier with technology integration. So I appreciate any questions or anything like that.
Shelly, awesome. I don't know what to say. You unleashed a lot on us tonight.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, AI, project-based learning, blended learning, Wakelet. You're talking about NICs, NACs, all the things that make teachers better in the classroom, raising student engagement, and just making teaching fun again, and allowing teachers to be facilitators instead of orators. What a concept! What a concept overall. Josh, my head is spinning. I'm going to play this one back a few times because, again, there are so many nuggets embedded within this conversation that I hope that you can just take your pencil out and just start writing some things down, because really good stuff.
Awesome. Yes, Shelly, thank you for being here. We appreciate all the knowledge that you dropped. And you know what? She will reach out to her. She will get a hold of you. An educator. Love that stuff. And you brought a lot of value to the show today. But you know what? Dean?
What?
This Thursday, the Red Zone, 9 p.m. Eastern, roundtable number 5, Superintendent, roundtable number 5 this Thursday. So please, after you're done checking out Shelly, then be ready to check out the Fantastic Four, Principal Cafele, Chica Houston, Coach Hurd. They're on fire, making sure we all are working together, because we're all in it. We're in the same game. We're in the kid game, making sure that our kids are better educated individuals, because they're going to take over the country. And it takes all of us together to bring us to as one group and being great. So join us for the Red Zone this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Awesome job, Shelly. Thank you very much. What do you think about that, Dean?
Hey, listen, I'm just going to drop the mic and stand back, Josh. You just took it all right out of my mouth on me, okay? Again, we do this for kids, betterment of kids, and empowering the people that we work with. Stop and think about that, leaders across the country out there. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about them and the output that they bring every single day to make our learning communities better. And people like Shelly, thank you so much for being with us tonight. And also thank you for sharing all those nuggets that are just going to make us all a little bit better. Hold on tight for a little bit. And I want to say, take care of those kids this week. And if you're on vacation, enjoy it. But if not, have a great week, everybody. Thank you again, Shelly.
Thank you.